And welcome to the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, broadcasting on AWSM radio. And before we get started, remember, check out the links in this post below. First up, life points. Take some surveys, earn some points, get some gift cards, including you get like a twitch.tv gift card, and you could support my other channel. Just saying, you could do that. And then for all of your social media needs, check out socialbee.io. I use them. They're fantastic. I use them every single day, and you can try them out for 14 days for free. I mean, no, you don't even need a password. It's a pretty good deal. So check them out as well. All right, my friends, let's get started with this week's podcast of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome once again, my friends, to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur rocketeer. Welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent digital-only radio station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talking music shows throughout the day. All we do is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I want to engage with you. I want you to be part of the conversation. So find me on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, on the Cameo, on the Twitch at Colt S. Taylor. Be sure to bookmark ColtSebastianTaylor.com. And if you just so happen to be, busy working on some mother-in-law's backyard this weekend, you can always catch the podcast version of the show at anchor.fm/ColtSTaylor, which is posted on Sundays, as well as I post a podcast version on YouTube as well. So many places where you can see this. All right, my friends, let's get started this week's Saturday Report. First up this week, we go to India, where Apple has opened officially 2 new stores in the country. The first 2 stores in the country, one in Mumbai, which is its flagship store of the country, and another one in Delhi this week, both of which were attended by Apple CEO Tim Cook himself. The Apple Store in Mumbai is Apple's first retail store in the country. After, like I said last week, they loosened some rules about foreign companies coming in. It is a 20,000 square foot facility, and he was there to welcome people into the store for the first time, and also opened a store in Delhi as well. I don't know the exact difference between them, but there are now 2 Apple stores in India where people can go and officially buy Apple products. And there were long lines as people had lined up waiting to enter the store, meet Tim Cook, and buy some Apple products. Now, one fun story is a gentleman named Sajid Munondin brought a 30-year-old Macintosh SE computer with him to show Tim Cook. I think he signed it also in the opening. And there are pictures and a video of him sort of shaking hands. He turns around, he recognizes the computer, and his eyes go wide and is shocked to see it. And he gave the guy a big hug and posed with a few pictures with him as well. But pretty amazing. A lot of folks coming in with Apple haircuts and Apple shirts. It was a very, very big deal in there as well. Someone brought a 1999 MacBook with them, just for him to see and to sign. A lot of Apple memorabilia. Pretty amazing stuff over there. So everyone's very happy. India is a big market for Apple. Apple has sold phones in there for the last 25 years, but until recently has been through third-party importers because of various governmental rules over there. But now, if you're near Mumbai or Delhi, you can go to an Apple store itself. Pretty exciting stuff. If you go, my friends, let me know. I avoid them because they're always very crowded over here, so I can only imagine how crowded they are over there. But if you do go, to all my listeners over there in India, let me know how you think, what the experience is. Send me a picture. Do tweet to me. But congratulations for the first ones in to check out their brand new facilities, Apple's brand new facilities, retail stores in Mumbai and Delhi. We now go from India to the United Kingdom. Did you know when there's a new person crowned the sovereign of the United Kingdom, a special beer is brewed called Coronation Ale that's often sold throughout the country leading up to and after the coronation of said monarch. Well, this past week, old Coronation Ale from Edward VIII's canceled coronation was found in the basement of an old brewery that was being remodeled. So, for those who need a bit of a history lesson, King Edward VIII descended the throne in January 1936 upon the death of his father, King George V. However, he abdicated in December of that year before his coronation so he can marry American divorcee Wallis Simpson, and then there was, his brother took the throne, who eventually passed away in the 50s, and then Queen Elizabeth II, now King Charles III. Well, anyways, this beer was found in the Green King Brewery in southeast English town of Bury St. Edmunds. Apparently, it was found, it wasn't discovered this week, but it was announced this week that it was going to go on sale, auctioned off. It was found in 2011, and several crates of this beer will be auctioned on May 5th, the day before the coronation of King Charles III, commemorating the occasion. The proceeds of the sale will go to the Prince's Trust charity, which was founded by King Charles III when he was a prince, to support young people from disadvantaged communities. According to Kate Williams, a royal historian and author working with Green King to look into the history of the king's coronation, said in release, "It is absolutely fascinating that these beers have been lying in the cellar for 86 years, having originally been brewed to celebrate the coronation of King Edward VIII on May 12, 1937. The elaborate coronation preparations took over a year to arrange, but by the time the event came around, he had already abdicated, leaving the ceremony and these celebratory beers redundant." So at the time, they had different rules for what beers were. It's a 12% ABV, alcohol by volume beer, made using English hops and barley to give it, quote, a rich, fruity flavor, according to the brewery. The 2023 Coronation Ale that's going to be served coming up on the King Charles coronation is 4% and has hints of citrus, tropical fruit, and is available right now across the pubs in the UK. I don't think they have them over here in the United States. I'd be curious to see what it tastes like. According to Jack Palmer, the head brewer at the Green King, he said in the release, "We've been brewing beers for over 200 years and creating special brews such as the 1937 and the 2023 Coronation Ales means we can capture moments of history to share with generations further down the line." So, they'll probably be very expensive. Hopefully good. I don't know. But if you do have this year's or this Coronation Ale, I'd be curious how that tasted too. So it's coming up in May. What does that say? May 5th is the day before. So May 6th is going to be the official coronation day of King Charles III, which will be a Saturday. So I won't be covering it live, so I'll cover it the following week with all the details. Who's wearing what crown jewels are where, etc., etc. But anyways, very interesting. Coronation Ale from the abdicated king-to-be, Edward VIII, found 2011, now being sold for charity. And 12%, that beer's gonna kick. That beer's gonna kick a little bit. We now go to Georgia, where actor Jamie Foxx is in the hospital. He went to the hospital on April 11th of this month, and he's still in there apparently, due to, quote, a medical complication. But there is no word of exactly what that medical complication was. Martin Lawrence spoke about him during an interview this week, saying, "I hear he's doing better. My prayers go out every night and just wishing him the best. One of the best we got in Hollywood." Not only one of the best entertainers, but a good person. Apparently, he is receiving medical care in Georgia. Says that he is steadily improving, but no specific details of why he is in the hospital. It's very strange, very strange. He was in Georgia filming Netflix's Back in Action with Cameron Diaz and Glenn Close. Apparently, his stunt double is filling in for body doubles in some places. His daughter, Corinne Fox, let fans know on April 12th that he had sustained a, quote, medical complication the previous day, but it was serious enough that it had to be rushed to the hospital. So, the statement said, luckily, due to the quick action and great care, he is already on his way to recovery. We know how beloved he is and appreciate your prayers. The family asked for privacy during this time. But again, no specific word on what his medical condition is. So I'll keep tabs on this. I hope he's back soon. I like Jamie Foxx. He's a funny guy, but hopefully he's getting good care. In other Hollywood news, you may recall the incident involving Alec Baldwin with a shooting on his set of his movie, resulting in the death of a cinematographer. He had been charged on 2 counts of manslaughter and was a subject of a being sued civilly. Well, this week, the charges against Alec Baldwin were dropped. He's no longer facing charges of it, and he also settled with the widow of the person who had passed away, who I believe whose name was Helena Hutchins? Helena Hutchins. I can't pronounce her name. Well, her widow, Matthew Hutchins, is now on board as executive producer. They reached a settlement with Alec Baldwin and the other producers of the movie, and filming has resumed. And he is charges are no longer being applied to him. So civilly has been settled. Criminal charges have been dropped, and filming is to resume. Now, I saw a lot of folks on there saying, "Oh, there's 2 tiers of justice, 2 tiers of justice." Well, folks, you do need evidence for a crime. You do need evidence to press charges. There were charges, but the prosecution felt there wasn't enough evidence to bring forward the charges. And I say, well, you should let a jury decide that. Well, no, because if a prosecution just brings charges on people and leaves it to the jury, then that's kind of a mess also. So, you can think what you want to think about Alec Baldwin. You're more than happy to, but there was not enough evidence in there to pursue charges on him. And the widower of the person who was killed, Ms. Hutchins, settled with him last year. So, unfortunate, but that's probably going to be the end of that. Alec Baldwin maintained that he did not pull the trigger of the gun, and there wasn't any evidence to dispute that statement. So, it is what it is. But anyways, the movie is set to continue filming, to be finished, as apparently a part of that settlement allowed them to do it. And not sure when it's coming out. Don't even know what it's about, but should be probably will be a bit of the news again once filming is complete. In other entertainment news, we go to Netflix, where last weekend they had a big reunion on Netflix of Love is Blind, which they hyped up. There's going to be a live event. The second one only in its history. They did a live event of Chris Rock's Selected Outrage comedy show in March of this year, and became the most streamed comedy special. So they decided to do it again with this Love is Blind reunion special. However, people who logged in to watch it were met with an error screen for 90 minutes. For 90 minutes, the website and the app crashed multiple times. Big names commented on it, such as Congressman AOC and Queer Eye's Camaro Brown. It did eventually end up airing for select subscribers and the live audience, but the rest, everyone else, had to wait the following day for it to be posted and for others to watch it. Apparently, a bug got into the system and crashed their entire infrastructure. According to a statement released by Netflix, quote, "We're really sorry to disappoint so many people. We didn't meet the standard that we expected. We expect ourselves to serve our members, and just be clear from a technical perspective, we've got the infrastructure. We had just a bug that we introduced, actually, when we implemented some changes to try to improve the live streaming performance after last live broadcast of Chris Rock in March. The bug did not show up in internal testing, but became visible when they had multiple systems interacting with each other and millions of people queuing to watch the reunion." So they're hoping to do more live events, which I guess is the thing. They like doing these streaming shows now. But they obviously need to make some changes to that. The reunion itself, many people, quote, "felt disappointed with co-host Vanessa Lachey's handling of sensitive topics and accused her of having bias towards male contestants. Additionally, Jackie and Josh, who met in the pods but weren't originally matched, couldn't attend the reunion because they received death threats. Instead, they did a pre-recorded interview. So, people are weird. People are weird. But good luck next time, Netflix. Hopefully you'll get your act together. My friends, while Netflix fails at live streaming from time to time, what never fails is my pal DC, and he's got 3 shows here on AWSM Radio. First up, Fridays at 9 p.m., it's DC Live in Effect. Our in-house DJ, DC, mixes it up every Friday, 9 p.m., and you don't want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos, kicking the beats from his South Florida compound. Then on Saturdays, it's DC House Party Saturdays. DC brings his freestyling DJing to the max. House Party Saturdays gives you the Miami vibe without actually having to go down there from the top clubs to the bars. DC will bring the party to you. That's Saturdays at 10 p.m. And then finally, at Sundays at 10 p.m., it's DC Live in Effect once again. So, just to review, Fridays at 9, DC Live in Effect. Saturdays at 10, DC House Party Saturdays. And then Sundays at 10 p.m., DC Live in Effect once again. Only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. Next up, my friends, we go to Oregon. Oregon, the land of, well, it depends on where you are. If you're on the west coast of Oregon, it's pretty cool, man. If you're on the eastward interior, it's pretty scary, man. Well, anyways, if you were driving up along Interstate 5 in Oregon last week, you might have walked away with a few $100 because an Oregon man was driving down the highway throwing handfuls of $100 bills out the window, eager to share generosity with as many people as possible. As one might imagine, it was frowned upon by the police because people kept stopping in the middle of the highway, running across the road to pick up $100 bills. According to the Oregon State Police, other local authorities began getting calls around 7:23 p.m. on April 11th about money floating on Interstate 5 near Eugene, Oregon. The driver, 38-year-old Colin Davis, was allegedly throwing $100 bills out of the window. The police told him that he needed to stop doing that because he was creating a traffic hazard. According to a witness, quote, "The northbound lane was bumper-to-bumper traffic stretching for miles due to people pulling off and re-entering the freeway from the shoulder searching the ground." McCarthy told troopers that he threw around $200,000 onto the highway. Although the police have stated that they have no way of confirming the estimate, the bills were picked clean in half an hour. By 8 p.m., they were all gone. According to reports, the Oregon man drained his family's bank account of $200,000 and threw it out the window to give it away to other people. Oregon State Police stated that McCarthy won't be facing charges. However, a relative of his told the police the money they took was from a shared family bank account. Although McCarthy wanted to share his money and others generously, it wasn't entirely his to give up. And I'm willing to bet there are some charges in the future for that, because I don't think you can do that, or he'll definitely be sued. I was like, the next family dinner is going to be really, really awkward. Really, really awkward. Of like, you just threw away our entire life savings. But I'm generous. And then punch. So if you're out there in Oregon and you're a few $100 richer, send me a postcard. I'd love to hear about it. Next up, my friends, we go to Australia, across the Pacific Ocean, where Melbourne is now officially Australia's biggest city, overtaking Sydney, Australia. You probably ask yourself, oh my goodness, do they have an influx of immigration? Well, the borders of the city, in which the capital of the state of Victoria sits, were redrawn to include the district of Melton, allowing Melbourne to leapfrog over Sydney. So, less about a quick increase of population, but more technically, they made the city a little bit bigger, so now it is technically bigger. But with that said, the Australian government did project that Melbourne's population would overtake Sydney by 2032. So it was going to happen within the next 10 years, but is now officially true since they redrew the map. The new Melbourne has 5.8 million residents and about 20,000 more than Sydney, Australia. Quote from Nick Parr, the professor of demography at Marquette University, explained to Sydney Radio, quote, "It's because most people have been moving out of Sydney, going to other parts of Australia, that have been moving in the opposite direction. Whereas the case of Melbourne, in some years, more people have moved to Melbourne than have moved out. But the projections show the city's population will continue to grow, and also Melbourne population will continue to grow." He said, adding that immigration will compensate for the effects of low birth rates in both cities. According to Liz Allen, a demographer from the Australian National University, the growth is largely due to immigration and international migration over the past decade, as well as internal migration from within Australia and a natural increase in births. Quote, "Melbourne has become a highly attractive place among more recent waves of overseas migration to Australia, particularly among those born in India. Growing community networks pull subsequent new arrivals from India into the Melbourne area." So, big Melbourne's now the biggest city in Australia for a variety of reasons. The most notable at the moment, they technically made the city a wee bit bigger. Next up, my friends, we go to a photo contest. The Sony World Photography Award last week in the Creative Open category awarded its top award to German artist Boris Elgensten for his entry Photomisia the Electrician. But he refused to accept the award. Perhaps yourself, why would he do that? Some sort of political statement? Did he steal the photo from someone else? Does he just not like rewards? Well, technically, it's not a real photo. It was AI generated, and he didn't tell anyone about it. He just submitted a photo to, quote, a cheeky monkey to find out if the competitions are prepared for AI images to enter. They are not, he said. He asked readers, how many of you knew or suspected that this image was AI generated? Something about it doesn't feel right, does it? AI images and photography should not compete with each other in an award like this. They're entirely different entities. AI is not photography. Therefore, I will not accept the award. The artist said the organizers were aware that his image was created when they told him that he won, claiming that they replied telling him that he could keep the award. However, for those reasons meant above, he says he doesn't consider this to be photography, therefore he cannot accept the award whatsoever. He also published a detailed account of conversations he had with award organizers, where he appeared to repeatedly push them on why they initially failed to reveal his image had been made for using AI. He pointed out the phrase photomnesia means fake memories in Latin, which an AI photo would be technically a fake memory. So, yeah. So AI imagery is coming up. AI everything. AI generated text coming up. It is pretty crazy stuff. And actually, I you know what? I have another AI story that I want to share with you as well, involving artists. So, also in recent days and weeks, an AI song generated to make it sound like Drake and the lead singer from The Weeknd sung a collaboration song together was released and got a lot of mileage out of it. It was an AI song. He put it. This person is anonymous, named Ghostwriter. Something or other. Ghostwriter said that a ghostwriter for years, and got paid close to nothing for major labels for profit. The future is here. So this song was released on different locations, and on TikTok it got 13 million listens, Twitter 5.3 million, Spotify 250,000, YouTube 144,000, and SoundCloud 84,000 listens and streams before it was, I believe, eventually taken down. But like within 48 hours, this fake AI song was generated. They did not write this. They did not sing it. But AI generated the lyrics, generated the song, generated the voices, and put it together. And this guy who knows how these systems work put them out there. Just put them out there. Whew. That is crazy. That is crazy. That's the wave of the future, folks. AI will be impacting artistic things like you cannot imagine. I'm sure one day, if I record enough of these, I can have an AI generate generate the show. Hello there, this is Colt Sebastian Taylor. Welcome to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. It'll probably sound better than that, but just saying. But pretty crazy stuff. I would expect to see more of it. Someone made a fake song of Rihanna singing Beyonce songs. I mean, you could take these voices and fake someone else's voice really, really, really good. Really good. So, crazy stuff. According to a spokesman from Universal Music Group, UMG, told CNN they have a moral and commercial responsibility to our artists to work to prevent the unauthorized use of their music and to stop platforms from ingesting content that violates the rights of artists and other creators. So, just like how you can't use music on YouTube videos and make money off of that, you can't use other people's voices and song styles and generate something to make money off of that. Whew. Boy, we are in a brave new world, my friends. A brave new world. My friends, something that AI will probably struggle to do is create a AI-generated evening commute show featuring music, hottest music on the charts and surprises in between. You can't do that. And won't do that here because we got Rox. Unless Rox is a secret android and doesn't exist. No, I've talked to Rox before. She's real. Is she? Well, decide for yourself and listen to the Rock Sessions. It's a drive time show here on AWSM Radio, making your evening commute home fun. Featuring, like I said, the hottest music on the charts and surprises in between. She, the totally human Rox, will make it rock style, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. Next up, my friends, we go to fashion. Specifically, wedding fashion. Might be a little bit harder to get that dress, the best dress to walk down the aisle, because David's Bridal, a national wedding dress seller in the United States, has filed for bankruptcy. They're not looking for an eligible bachelor. They're looking for an eligible buyer because they are on some rough times with less people getting married and a little bit less, discretionary funding to be spent on weddings. They have had hard times to make ends meet. This is the second time they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in North America. The last time they did was 5 years ago. They came out of it a year later, but they have had some tough times. According to CEO James Markham, in a press release, quote, "Our business continues to be challenged by the post-COVID environment and uncertain economic conditions, leading us to take this step to identify a buyer who can continue to operate the business going forward." Now, David's Bridal is based just outside of Philadelphia in Conshohocken, which I knew but forgot when this story came out. So it's like right in my own backyard. Has nearly 300 stores, 300 stores nationwide. And if they cannot find a buyer, they will have to liquidate. Right now, all stores are open. They are going to continue to accept gift cards, refunds, and exchanges. But they need to get some funding. David's Bridal provides 25% of all brides outfits in the United States with their bridal dresses. The District of New Jersey Bankruptcy Court said the company has 100,000 dresses in stock and another 30,000 orders that are going to be still being fulfilled according to their filings. So right now they've been approved to borrow $10 million to keep operations afloat during bankruptcy. They'll need another $75 million later in the bankruptcy protection, according to Reuters. Last week, the company said it was laying off 9,000 employees in stores across the United States as they struggle to maintain things. They currently employ more than 11,000 workers, but they're going to be laying off about 9,000. That's a lot of them. That is a lot of them. That'll affect 15 stores in 9 counties just in Pennsylvania. Just in Pennsylvania. So they've all over the place, but really going to hit Pennsylvania as it were. They don't have any plans. They do have plans to close stores as part of the plan, but nothing official quite yet. There are 300 stores. They're hoping that the weddings will return with a vengeance because between 2020, 2021, and 2022, not a lot of in-person weddings. A lot of people put off their wedding plans, but now that venues are open, they're hoping that people will come back and buy wedding dresses and get them out of their hole. But for right now, they're entering bankruptcy protection in order to hopefully get over this rough spot. We now go to France, where, as I had mentioned in a previous episode, tensions are still high over there about France raising the pension age for people to retire to receive a pension. And protests continue, including from the French Spider-Man. Yes, French Spider-Man. The gentleman who likes to climb buildings without harnesses to bring awareness, protest, etc., etc. He scaled a 38-story skyscraper in Paris on Wednesday to demonstrate his support for protesters angry about a pension law that will delay the age which people can retire in France. Quote, "I'm here to show my support for those who oppose pension reform," Alain Robert, or Robert, who knows, said as he climbed the 492-foot skyscraper in Paris's La Défense business district. 60 years old, climbed up that building using his bare hands and a pair of climbing shoes. He continued in his statement, "I'm here to tell President Emmanuel Macron to come back to Earth by climbing with no safety net." Robert said the pension reform, which Macron signed into law at the weekend after months of street protests, meant that, combined with the loss of income due to COVID pandemic, he would have to keep working and climbing for longer. Under the reform bill, French retirement age will gradually rise to 64 from 62. Robert here has scaled 150 towering structures in his climbing career, including the Eiffel Tower, the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, and Dubai's Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building, which I've seen, and I have nightmares about what that would be like to do that. But even French Spider-Man, not a fan of France's new pension law, which was signed into effect a few weeks ago. We now go to New Zealand, where one of my bestest online friends live. Her name's Georgina. We play Dungeons and Dragons together on Wednesdays. You should really check it out. Twitch.tv/the Longshots D&D. Great high fantasy adventure. But not talking about D&D or my pal in New Zealand, but I'm talking about cats in New Zealand, which you probably will not want to listen to this story, but it's cats. There is a feral cat problem in New Zealand. Apparently there's over 2 million feral cats in New Zealand, and animals are a major threat to the country's native species and biodiversity, especially birds. According to the Royal Forest and Bird Protection Society, New Zealand's largest conservation group, estimated feral cats are responsible for 1.1 million native bird deaths every year. So they have cat hunts. They send out people in a competition to hunt feral cats. Well, this annual event in North Canterbury usually sees hundreds of adults compete to kill feral cats in New Zealand. It's a contest to raise funds for a local school. Well, this year they had a division for those aged 14 and under with a prize of 250 New Zealand dollars, and offered that to a child who killed the most cats by the end of June. However, the problem being that there was a concern that, kids may not know the difference between a feral cat and a real house cat, and these kids are going to go around shooting non-feral cats throughout the summer because, they are just kids. So they canceled that part of the competition. The North Canterbury hunting competition said it was disappointed that the category had to be withdrawn. Organizers said they received vile and inappropriate emails and felt necessary to protect the school and their sponsors. Quote, "We are disappointed and apologize for those who are excited to be involved in something that is about protecting our native birds and other vulnerable species." The hunting competition sees hundreds of people compete to kill a range of animals every year, from wild pigs, deers, and rabbits. In 2022, there were 650 adults and 250 child entrants. This year's event would have been the first time children have been allowed to take part in the feral cat category. So I know that they're disappointed, but probably a good idea. I mean, it's easy to identify a wild pig and a wild rabbit. There aren't like pet pigs and pet rabbits roaming about in the forest, but cats, it was just a problem waiting to happen. So, fortunately, my friend Georgina and her cat are safe from 14 and under children running about with guns, shooting up the countryside, looking for feral cats for 250 New Zealander dollars. Whew. Maybe next year, but this year, no, none of that. Changing gears, my friends. Listen, there's one place to go to on Wednesdays for sports. It's here on AWSM Radio because we got two great shows. First up, it's To the Rack with Mac. To the Rack with Mac is your go-to spot for all things basketball. Join NBA expert Mac Daddy as he brings you a full hour of high-flying hoops expertise for all things NBA. Tune in Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. and then at 10 p.m. it's What's Going On. What's Going On is our Fox Sports affiliate show providing listeners with over 150 combined years of sports knowledge. Hosted by Nate Brown and his crew, they have been a staple of Western New York sports for the past 2 decades, and now they're national Wednesdays at 10 p.m. So just to remind you, Wednesdays at 9 p.m., To the Rack with Mac. Wednesdays at 10 p.m., What's Going On? Only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. Well, that just about wraps up this week's Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Remember, you can find me on the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Counter Social, the Twitch.tv at Colt S. Taylor, as well as Cameo/Colt S. Taylor. And the podcast version of the show is available at Anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor and also on YouTube. Well, my friends, until next time, I am, of course, your friend, the one, the only, Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later. And thus concludes the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Remember, check the links below to support the show, Life Points, and then also check out socialbee.io for all of your social media needs. So, thanks for joining, and until next week, once again, I am, of course, Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later.